बनवा लो, फिर पता चला ट्रेन जल्दी आ गई, आगे पीछे हुई। Okay guys, good morning. So today we are going to learn about serverless application, how to build a serverless application. Okay, so what is the requirement here? So a client came to me, they asked me that they want to host a website again, and the website is basically is a kind of feedback form taken from the people who are coming to the restaurant or any place. Okay, so they want a website, they want a solution where you need to take a feedback from the client. So they will fill up the form, their personal information, some name, their email ID and other things, and they will submit that information, and it has to be stored in your database. So that's the requirement. How you are going to fulfill that thing? So you have to create a form, and that form will store the information in a database. Simple requirement. Now the form should be in a simple HTML form. It can be simple HTML page something, and it can be stored in any type of database. That is a requirement from your client, right? And after that requirement was, uh, any given point of time, he or she will be able to uh, enter the email, mobile number of that person, and fetch the details. What are the details provided by the customer? So this is a two requirement given by customer to you, that they need to design, they need to have some portal or some web page where they can submit the feedback, or they can submit the user information, which will be stored in DynamoDB or any other database. Okay, that you have to store in the database. Second requirement was that any given point of time, they can read the data information from the database. Okay, so they will enter the mobile number, they can enter the name of the person, something like that. So this is a requirement, and as a solution architect, you have to design the solution for that. It should be cheap, it should be fast, it should be cost effective. Now what are the things you will take in consider here? So as per me, a feedback form, it can be simple HTML form. Okay, if I'm talking about HTML, it is a website. Now it will be a static website, it will be dynamic website. Tell me here, the feedback form will be static or dynamic? Tell me. It is in AWS. We have to design the solution in AWS. So while thinking, first of all, the question is, what type of website you are designing? What type of web page you are designing? It is static or it's a dynamic?
Static.
It's a static, right? So should we go to EC2 machine, or should we explore other option? Ultimately, we can go EC2, right? So let's design a solution with the EC2 first of all. Let's brainstorm it, and then try to avoid what are things we can uh, replace, and try to make it serverless. Okay, this is my paint. So this is, every solutions come with your basic funda is you have to host in EC2, right? Before that, you have to create a load balancer, auto scaling, everything, right? So I will just create this thing like this. Okay, and before that there will be a route 53, something like this. This is the same architecture which we have created yesterday. Agree? This is a EC2 solution, ELB/auto scaling. Now This is a generic solution. This is for all the solution. Can we now problem with the solution is that it is going to run 24 cross 7, right? If I go with the EC2 machine, the EC2 machine and load balancer will run 24 cross 7. Do you think that the feedback form which will be filled by the customer will be running 24 cross 7, required 24 cross 7? No, no. So what type of website we are hosting? We are hosting a static website. It's a simple HTML form. I will show you. So inside your project, web hosting, serverless 1, submit form, and index.html. Yes. So this is a simple form. You can see. You have to fill name, first name, last name, email ID, and phone number. That's it. This is a form you fill from the customer and click on submit. It is just gathering the personal information about your customer. That's it. So this is a static form, right? So can I here I will be paying a lot of money just to host a website because EC2 machine will be running 24 cross 7, load balancer will be running 24 cross 7. This is a direct solution, right? Can I avoid this thing? Can I replace EC2 with any other thing? Can I host my website on S3? Think of that. Can I replace EC2 machine with S3? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
We have done that. We can
Yes, because it is a static website. So not a dynamic one, so we can use the S3 bucket.
yes, it's a static website, right?
Exactly. So we can use S3.
We
Yes.
can host this website in S3. So that's one point is taken care of. Now, so we can host a website in S3. Okay, done. Now, what is the second thing? Now, if it's a traditional thing, where you will store the data? You will store the data in RDS machine, the data of the customer. If it's a traditional way, the moment you click on the submit button, some action should be taken, right? If you click the submit button, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fields should be taken and it should be put into a database. Agree? So here RDS machine again it's a 24 cross 7 running system. Agree? Do you think that I require 24 cross 7? Is there any database which doesn't run 24 cross 7 and just uh, provide me a feature where I just have to pay if I'm using the data? Otherwise, you don't have to pay. Is there any database in the cloud such similar to this? We have a database named as DynamoDB. Remember?
Yes, dynamic
DynamoDB.
NoSQL.
Yeah, it's a NoSQL, but I can store the data into 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, 5 columns, right? Do I have to pay for DynamoDB? Do I have to pay for the creating table in DynamoDB? Answer is no. Do DynamoDB run 24 cross 7? The answer is no. If you are using the DynamoDB, then only you are going to get charged for that. Agree? So I can store my database into DynamoDB. Okay, that's one thing. I can store in RDS, I can store in DynamoDB. So let's try to store the information in DynamoDB. Why I'm doing this? To save the money. Okay. Next thing, I have hosted the website. I have decided the database. Now, the moment I click on the submit button, my request should be clubbed together and stored in my DynamoDB. So who will do that process? Who will collect this information and store in DynamoDB? So instead of here you can see load balancer is there, right? What was load balancer will do? It will gather the information and pass to EC2 machine, and it acts the interface between your EC2 machine and your user. Similarly, here we are going to use API gateway. We are going to use API gateway. Okay, API gateway, it is just the REST API which will interact between your website and backend. And who will push the data into DynamoDB? Who will push the data into DynamoDB? You required some processing engine, you required some computing. You require some computing, right? To push the data into DynamoDB. So I can create EC2 machine. So to push the data into DynamoDB, I have a simple script in Python. I will show you. It's just a piece of script, simple script, this much, 4 to 5 line script which will push the data into DynamoDB. That's it. So this is a piece of code which I need to just run it, and task is done. So I can use EC2 machine here, or I can try to integrate Lambda. Right? I told you what is the property of Lambda. The Lambda will work 15 minutes maximum. Right? The Lambda can work 15 minutes. It has a memory of 10 GB and it's good with Python. So taking a request, taking the input from your API, or you can say the website, combine them together and push it into DynamoDB. This is a task of a Lambda. That's it. Okay. So Lambda should able to handle this easily within 15 minutes. It will take hardly 2 seconds for Lambda to do this task. Not more than 2 seconds. Whatever the information which is coming from the website through API to Lambda, it will pass to DynamoDB to Lambda. Lambda will combine these all things together and it will put to DynamoDB. This is a architecture. Is it clear why what are the component I'm replacing? I'm replacing EC2 machine hosting with our S3 bucket, load balancer and autoscaling with our API gateway, processing the request or combining the request and putting into DynamoDB in Lambda, and RDS with DynamoDB. Anybody has any question in this? This is a way I can save the user money. How? To host a website in S3 doesn't cost me. It costs me a penny. Secondly, the user is not going to use the website continuously, right? The moment they click on submit button, that time only the request should be invoked and we should able to store the data in DynamoDB or in database. So why should I run the website 24/7 when I know that there will be no traffic continuously, right? There is very less chance the traffic will be running continuously. Agree?
Between the API gateway and the DynamoDB, what do we have? We have Lambda.
We are introducing a processing. We require computing. Compute.
Okay, so Lambda will do that. Lambda will do that.
Right. We require compute. Why?
Okay.
Why? Because I need some aggregation. I need some whatever the information which is sent from the submit button, right? The submit button. I need some updation. I need some aggregation. Like I will check, so do some validation, and if validation is proper, and I will introduce data time something, and then I will put into the DynamoDB. So Lambda is for just doing a small computing power, something. Okay.
Just checking if the values are good.
Validations and some new columns introducing and then putting into DynamoDB. Okay.
Okay. So just checking validation.
Yes. Yes. Or if you want to do some other things, right now we are just making it simple. If you want, you can just check, enhance this feature, any computing thing you want to do. Okay, which can be completed within 15 minutes. So Okay, for simplicity, I'm doing validation and pushing into DynamoDB. Now you can ask me, so can't we directly invoke Lambda from our front end, that is website? You can't. Generally, Lambdas are not invoked directly. You required API or some other. There is a list of things which can be trigger Lambda. Okay, there are list of services which can trigger Lambda. You can't trigger Lambda directly from S3, or you can say the front end. Okay, you can invoke from S3 but not from website. अगर मैं submit button click करता है, if I'm clicking on submit button, I can't trigger Lambda directly. I need some intermediate application which can trigger the Lambda. Second question, can't I directly put information in DynamoDB? No. If I click on submit button, this button, so it should be processed, it should be some validation should be happening, and then only it should put in DynamoDB. And I can't directly push it to DynamoDB. Okay, I required some basic coding to push the code into DynamoDB. So this is the architecture. Anybody has any question at what we are doing? So this is the complete flow. So you can see there is a user which is going to hit our Route 53. Route 53 will land, will navigate to the our S3 bucket, that is where our website will be hosted. From there, the website will be populated on the user side. The user will fill up the form and it will click on submit button. As soon as the submit button will be clicked, API will be triggered. API will trigger the Lambda. Lambda will push that information to DynamoDB. This is our architecture. Okay, this is for submitting the request. Any question in this? So here we have two information, submit and get. So first we are putting a get submit information, right? So this is a piece of code, simple code in Python. I will just explain you in 5 minutes how the code works. Okay. And what are the things you have to remember? Make sure that you are doing properly. So let's create a, now from here in from this diagram, what are the loose component? S3 and my DynamoDB. So I will create, let's create an S3 bucket and let's go and create a DynamoDB. So let's log into the console. Meanwhile, anybody is there who is not able to understand what we are trying to do? So basically we are hosting a website. Okay, so we are hosting a website in S3, and anything we are triggering will be triggering an API, and we are putting the information in DynamoDB. So here everything is serverless, we are not paying anything. So I have already created an S3 bucket with the domain bucket is there where the website is already hosted. So I think everybody know how to host a website in S3. Okay, so create a bucket, make it public, make bucket your public, and even further give the access as completely allow the bucket as public. Scroll down, go to static website, edit it, enable it, and click on host a static website. Then pass the file name that index.html you want to use. This is how you host a website in S3. Agree? So I'm using this bucket. Why this bucket I'm using? Because my Route 53 I want to integrate with this thing. My domain name and the bucket name should be same if I'm in the Route 53. So if I'm integrating Route 53, my bucket name and the domain name should be same. So that's why I'm using this bucket. Okay. Now second part is DynamoDB. Go to DynamoDB. Okay. So these are the two tables which we created while practicing DynamoDB. So they are not going to charge me because a very less information I'm storing in DynamoDB, you can see. how much information I'm storing. 6 number of record 6 or this much byte, 23 bytes. That's it. 72 bytes. Okay. Now let's create a table. Click on tables, create table. Now, what is the name of the table you want to give? You can give any name. Just remember the name which you are giving, it should be unique and the name should be passed to your code. Okay, so I'm giving name as user underscore info. Now tell me, this is your website. Okay, this is your feedback form where you are taking phone number, last name, email ID and phone number. Out of this, what should be the your primary key? Because in DynamoDB you need to pass a primary key, right? You need to pass a primary key. What should be the primary key? Tell me.
Phone number. Phone number.
Phone number.
Email ID, phone number.
Yes, both can be used as the primary key. Either of them can be used as primary key. But I'm going to use as phone number as the primary key. So you have to pass the primary key value. So I'm using contact number with everything small. Okay, so from the code you can use the information. This is the contact number. Okay, and it can be number, it can be integer. So it's your choice. I'm putting as a number. Sorry, I'm putting it as a string. You can use as an integer as well, but I'm using as a string right now. So this is my table name. I'm creating in Mumbai. Okay, you can create in Virginia if you wish. Table name. This is a primary key. Contact number. There is no space. There is no underscore anything. Okay, and everything I'm keeping at default and create the table. So you can see user table is getting created. Empty. So DynamoDB table is created. That's fine. Now let's go to the code. So how many of you don't know Python? So,
I don't know about it. I don't know.
okay. Simple. I'm not going in detail. It's a simple. Just it's a steps. So first, anybody learned C, basic C programming? C language पढ़ा था कॉलेज में? स्कूल
Yes.
वहाँ पे क्या करते थे? पहले इंपोर्ट करते थे लाइब्रेरीज. तो ये लाइब्रेरीज इंपोर्ट करी है. रिमेंबर वहाँ पे जो भी रिक्वायर्ड लाइब्रेरीज होती थी, पाइथन की, सॉरी पाइथन की, मैथ लाइब्रेरी यूज करते थे हम लोग, मैथमेटिकल लाइब्रेरीज यूज करते थे, फिर करेक्शन लाइब्रेरीज यूज करते थे.
We used to use that include command.
हाँ वैसे ही सी में इंक्लूड होता है, यहाँ पे इंपोर्ट होता है. ओके, so I'm just importing the libraries. Okay, required libraries. Now the important thing which you have to make sure is table name. This is the DynamoDB table name. So you can see here user hyphen info, right? And what is the table name I have created? User underscore name info. So the table name should be same. So you have to replace this with your table name, DynamoDB table name. It should be exactly matching. Hyphen, if you have created hyphen, put it hyphen. If you have created underscore or whatever the name you have given, it should be exactly matching. Okay, so replace the table name with whatever the table name you have given of your DynamoDB. Second, in the client, here you have to give the region. Which region we are working? In Mumbai. What is the code of Mumbai? AP South 1. This is the code of Mumbai. So you have to pass the region. If you pass Virginia, if you are working in Virginia and passing in Mumbai region, it will say the table not found. क्योंकि वर्जीनिया में ये टेबल नहीं है. या वाइस वर्सा, if you are working in Mumbai and pass UST 1, So it will say the table not found. You can see there is no table. Name as user info. Okay. So bear in mind in which region you have created the table, that region code you have to pass. Clear? Now from here, it's very simple. Okay. Here it's a main function, just starting point of your code. Your input are coming in event. Whatever the input you are giving to your code, it's coming in this variable. Now from this variable, what I'm doing, I'm fetching email ID, I'm fetching first name, I'm fetching last name, contact information, and timestamp. These are the things I'm fetching from the input. What is the input right now? My front end. My front end will be the input. Here, all this information should come to me and should be coming to my code. So I'm assuming that this information will come in this format: email ID, first name, last name, contact number, and timestamp. And while storing in DynamoDB, I'm storing first name as name, last name as surname, contact name, contact number. That's it. And timestamp as date. So front end से मुझे ये आ रहा है. Okay. फ्रंट एंड से मुझे ये इंफॉर्मेशन आ रही है. मैं अपने डेटाबेस में कैसे स्टोर कर रहा हूँ? लेफ्ट email ID, name, surname, contact number, and date. Okay, and this is I'm putting the information in DynamoDB. This is a put item. So I'm putting the information in DynamoDB. So this is a simple code. If it's successfully, it will print successful and return 200 code. Otherwise error आया तो error आएगा. Simple 4-line code. Where this code will run? Now tell me. Where this code will run? In Lambda? Right? This code will run in Lambda. It's a Python code. So let's create a Lambda in Mumbai. Check the region. I'm in Virginia. Let me switch to Mumbai. Okay. So let's create a Lambda. Before creating Lambda, I need to create an IAM role for Lambda. Why? This Lambda needs to access DynamoDB, right? This Lambda need to access DynamoDB. So that's what I have to create a role for my Lambda. So create a role. Who is going to use this role? Yesterday we used EC2. Here, this time we are going to create for Lambda. So use case Lambda. Next. What role I want to add? DynamoDB full access. Okay, I'm giving DynamoDB full access. And cloud watch full access. Okay, second permission I'm giving CloudWatch to write the logs information in CloudWatch. That's it. So I have added two permission: DynamoDB full access and CloudWatch full access. Give name serverless submit or serverless Lambda role. You can give any name. Okay, description is already there, and just create the role. So we have created a role. Let's go and create a Lambda. So create function, give name serverless Lambda underscore submit. This is for submitting the information from user to DynamoDB. Select the language Python, okay, and select your existing role. So server Lambda. That's it. If you're not able to find it, just refresh it once from here and create. Python, you have different version. Python 3.7, 3.8, 3.9, 10, 11, all will work. Okay. Python now have a different version starting with Python 3.7 and it goes till 3.11 nowadays. So you can select any version, it will not get any problem for you. Now your Lambda is here. This is a web page for Lambda. Here you have to pass your code, paste your code. So the code which we have open in a notepad, just copy this thing completely and paste, delete this thing and paste it. Okay, delete the previous code and paste it. Just again verify the table name is as similar to your DynamoDB name and the region is Mumbai which you are working, AP South 1. Okay, if all things are good, just click on save. Hmm. The field to upload the file from the upload file must be non-empty zip. I'm not uploading any file, bro. इसको क्या हो गया? Just refresh it once. I'm getting something. Okay. Paste the code. Okay. Click on deploy button. Yes. Deploy. So was getting some weird error. So I just refresh the page once. Completed page. So deployment save. Okay. So my Lambda is ready. So this part is completed. So if you know the Python, you can do anything with your Lambda. So let me do a dummy test. Okay, let me do a test run. So to run a Lambda, you can pass the input from here. Test. You can see. Here you can pass your inputs. So whatever the things which is going to come from the front end. So how the input will come? Here is your test information. And this format will come. Okay. So copy this thing and paste it here. Format if you want. So in this format, you will get the information from the front end. Give them test or anything and just save. So you can see contact number, email ID, first name, last name, and some other information. Save. And just click on test. So you can see it has successfully returned the information in DynamoDB. Now let's go and check. You can see information in DynamoDB. So my Lambda is working properly now. Okay, let me delete this record. This for just testing if my Lambda is working or not. Okay, close this. Now the second thing I have to do is create an API gateway. So this part is done. Let's create an API. So API gateway. So creating API gateway might be simple, might be difficult, depending on what expertise you have. So let's go and create an API gateway quickly. Go to API. Inside API, go to REST API. Okay. Go to REST API and click on build. Click OK. So I'm creating a new API, REST API, and new. You want to give a name? Give any name. So I'm giving serverless API. Description, if you want, you can give, otherwise you can skip. And just click on create. Now this is your API console. So here there are two things, resources and stage. Here in resources, we are going to create the path. Okay, go to action, create resource. So what resource you want to create? What resource you want to create? Get information, no. Submit button. Okay. Okay. So here I'm creating a path. Just like here you can see the path in the URL, right? You can see the path. Similarly, I'm creating a path of my URL, API URL. And click on enable chorus. That's it. Create resource. Click on submit, click on here and click create method, and it will be a post method. Now as soon as you click on post method, so what I'm doing, I'm creating a path. Inside path I'm saying that what method I'm going to use. I'm going to use a post method. ये हमने HTTP पढ़ा था ना. In HTTP we are going to hit a URL with post get update. Remember? So generally what we do, हम लोग कोई भी API को हिट करते हैं ना, URL को ऐसे URLs को हिट करते हैं. So मैं ऐसा path बना रहा हूँ. Okay. So what is the path here? Submit. Inside that post method. As soon as you create a method, click here and create a method. Post will come, and here you have to see a lambda. So you can search your lambda. You can see here, and just click on save. That's it. Click on OK. Your lambda is ready. So part 1 is done, ready for your API. Okay. Just to make it live, go to action. Click on deploy. You can see deploy button. New stage and dev. That's it. Deploy. As soon as you click on deploy, you can see I have moved to stage option. So this is a production. This is a live. This is your development area. This is your live area. आप यहाँ पे कोई भी changes कर सकते हो. वो live नहीं होगे. अगर इसमें अगर आपको कोई changes करने हो कर लो यहाँ पे. Live कब होगे? Whenever you click on deploy. Deploy करते वो यहाँ पे live हो जाएंगे. So if you click here on the post button, you will see a URL. This URL we have to hit when we are submitting our API, submitting our form. So मैं आपको form दिखाता हूँ कैसे. If you remember, we have created this index.html. We have to click submit button. So what will happen? Let's open this index.html. अभी तक हमने simple देखा था, right? So this is a quite advanced version of HTML file. So अगर आप देखोगे क्या क्या है यहाँ पे, these are the information, first name, last name. So ये सारी information आपको यहाँ पे मिल जाएगी. देखो, first name, last name, email ID, area code, telephone number, all this information, and a button, and there is a submit button. So as soon as you click on submit button, a JavaScript will be called. Can you see a JavaScript? A JavaScript will be called, name as submit.js. वो कहाँ पे JavaScript? ये रही बाजू में JavaScript. So if you open in Notepad again, so simple है JavaScript है, बहुत simple है. As soon as you, so how it works, as soon as you click on submit button, as soon as you click submit button, this page will call a JavaScript. This is a JavaScript. What this JavaScript will do? It will do three things. It will collect all the information from your index.html. तो जो भी आपने यहाँ पे लिखा है उस सबको कलेक्ट करेगा पहला, यहाँ पे ये कलेक्ट कर रहा है. Then we are doing a check. Nowadays you know that if I'm not filling the form, you're getting an error like this. Please enter the first name. Please enter the last name. If I'm not entering, it is not going to submit the request. Error आता है ना आपको, तो यहाँ पे कर रहा हूँ. देखो, अगर first name blank है, please enter the first name. Error आएगा आपको. If I'm sending, if I'm not entering the last name, then I will get an error. Please enter the last name. Getting? So ये validation कर रहे हैं हम लोग यहाँ पे, ठीक है? First name, last name, email ID, and then phone number. Phone number should be your 6-digit phone number. 10-digit phone number starting with 0 and 9. Okay? So ये 10-digit होना चाहिए. All this information are there. So you can just check it out. And if this all validations are completed, okay, second part is done, then we are creating a JSON. This is a body of our input. Now this body, you can see contact number, email ID, first name, last name, source. ये हमने पूरा इससे पेज से उठा के अपना बॉडी बनाया है. ओके, ये इनपुट जाएगा किसको? हियर यू कैन सी द API. HTTP URL हमने बनाया है. फ्रॉम वेयर? हमारा API गेटवे पे हमने बनाया था ना अभी. ये यहाँ पे जो URL आएगा, हियर द URL विल बी फॉर आवर पर्सनल API गेटवे. सो हम किसको हिट कर रहे हैं? सबमिट बटन दबा के. So as soon as you click on submit button, the moment you click on submit button, your API will be called. You will call your API gateway. किसका है submit button पे? URL किसका है? API का. So हम ये कॉपी करेंगे, यहाँ पे पेस्ट कर देंगे. और मेथड क्या यूज किया था हमने? पोस्ट मेथड. तो यहाँ पे पोस्ट है. So just save it. That's it. So for you, you just have to create an API and paste your API URL here. Only change you have to do. अदरवाइज index.html में कोई चेंजेस नहीं है, सिर्फ जावास्क्रिप्ट में. You have to paste your own API. Okay, so just now what I have to do, I have to just copy this JavaScript and index.html in my S3 bucket final. So this is my S3 bucket. Let me upload this. Private file कुछ नहीं है, एक information file है. That's it. Grant permission, public yes, and upload. That's it. Done. Now go to your S3 website and click on the URL. Now you will see that I am able to host the website. Now let's try to. Now I am using from a website. This is from local previously. So let me close the local one and let me register. Okay. If I'm putting and click on submit button, now you can see I'm getting some error. Let me check, inspect what is the error I'm getting. Oh, okay, chorus. I know that. Okay, so I'm getting this error. Okay, let me use Edge or other website. But again, let me check if the DynamoDB. Okay, you can see the information is stored in DynamoDB. जो हमने इंफॉर्मेशन डाला था वो DynamoDB में स्टोर हो गया, मतलब हमारा एंड टू एंड तो चला है, बट वहाँ पे एरर आया था हमको क्योंकि क्रोम में एक प्रॉब्लम होती है. सो लेट मी go with the age. Email ID, I'm going to enter another email ID. Mobile number 999 Okay, submit. So here also I'm getting the same error. There a chorus getting a problem. So what is the chorus? So जो हमने API बनाया था ना, उसमें एक चेंजेस करना है बस. Go to resource, click on submit action and enable chorus. Can you see? Go to resource, submit button, click on submit, enable chorus, and just click on chorus. Okay, and as you done changes, so you have to deploy it again. Deploy, dev, deploy. So जो भी आपने changes करे वो deploy हो जाएंगे. chorus क्या करता है? वेबसाइट में compatibility डालता है. ये issues आते हैं तो वेबसाइट में compatibility enable करता है. Now you can see it is done. So now it is not giving me an error of chorus. That's it. You can see congratulations, your information is stored. So let's go in DynamoDB. Now you can see information is stored in DynamoDB. Anybody has any question in this? कैसे किया, समझ नहीं आया? So the best thing about is that this website is publicly available. मतलब publicly available है. Point number one. Is it running continuously? No. Whenever you use this website, that time only your API will be hitting. The API will trigger the Lambda. Lambda will put the information in DynamoDB. It's completely serverless. You are not paying for any charges. So if now if you are not entering the name, it will give an error. Give the name, last name, email ID. If you're not entering the email ID, if I'm entering the wrong email ID, then it will not take it. Same thing with your phone number. If I'm entering a used number, it will give an error. Okay, so if I'm entering everything, your information should be stored in DynamoDB. You can see. Any question? So Lambda start होके बंद हो जाता है. Okay, it's serverless again. What the Lambda is doing here, it is just pushing the data into DynamoDB. That's it. It is collecting the information from your API gateway. इसके लिए input कौन दे रहा है? API से input आता है Lambda के पास. So it is collecting the information from API and then it is pushing to DynamoDB. That's it. Any question in this? Yes, no. Okay, I will take this as a yes. So this is all about submitting the information to DynamoDB. Okay, आपने जो भी फॉर्म वगैरह बनाया है उससे आप DynamoDB में इंफॉर्मेशन डाल सकते हो. Now second part of this is fetching the information from DynamoDB. Okay, so it is a get method. So if you go here in your folder get info and if you click on the index.html, so you have to enter a mobile number. Simple. Okay, again if I show you the code, simple text message, enter the mobile number. You can see enter the mobile number, enter mobile number. As soon as you enter the mobile number and click on submit button, another JavaScript will run. You can see the JavaScript here. Get info. Okay, so here your fetching the mobile number and passing it to your gateway again. Okay, here, but instead of post, we are using get method and with a mobile number in the URL. So let's change the lambda and create a new another API. Okay, so I'm going to change the lambda here. Instead of submit, now I'm going to use get info lambda. So same lambda cannot be used because the code will be different. You have to change the lambda, or you have to change the code. Hmm. So I'm creating a new lambda, name as serverless get method, and just create the lambda. Now, what is the code for lambda here? So here DynamoDB is there already. I just want to read the information from DynamoDB. So this is the code for lambda, reading the information from DynamoDB. Similar to previous one, you can see importing something. Now table name. What is the name of my DynamoDB? User underscore info. So replace this name with your name. Be very careful. It's underscore or hyphen, whatever. Then region is AP South one. After this, you have to just see that we are passing the contact number and it is getting the information from DynamoDB and returning back to us. Just copy this complete code into your lambda. Lambda. Yeah. Paste it. What's the problem? Okay. So I have saved the lambda. You can test it out. There's a test event here. इतना बड़ा है. Copy this thing. Click on test. Paste it here and your mobile number. What mobile number? Which is there in your DynamoDB. Paste and give a name here test. Save. Click on test. Now if the information is there, it will give you the information. You can see यहाँ पे information आई, email ID, date, name. If the information is not there in the DynamoDB, let's say वो mobile number नहीं है, save. So what it will give? It will give return a no value found. No value found. Okay. So this is a code which we have written. So you can see if value found, return the value, otherwise return no value found. This is how we have written the code. So this lambda is hitting our DynamoDB and fetching the information according to the primary key, that is contact number. Now I have to update my API gateway. So this is for submit button. Now I have to create for get info. Create a resource get info. Just a minute. Yes. Get info. Okay. Click on enable chorus. Still we will do again. Okay. After this. Okay. Now click on get info. Create another method. Create another resource. Okay. And here this time give the primary key, that is a contact number, and with a curly braces. Why I'm passing curly braces here, I will explain you. Okay, I have to enable proxy. Let me check. Okay, let's click on create resource. Let me check if this works or not. Click here, create method and get. Now pass your lambda name, that is get method, and just save. Click on OK. Now your API is ready. Just deploy it. Now if everything is good, you can use this API to pass in your console itself. Now the best thing about get method is that then you can paste it on the browser itself. So just replace this last thing, info, and pass the mobile number 999 So I'm getting an error. Just let me check once. I think I know what is the error. Okay. I think I need to enable proxy. Okay. Here in get integration, go to the resource. Here, use Lambda proxy integration. Okay. So let me delete this thing called method. Let me create a method again. Get method. Okay. Here you have to click on integration, proxy integration also. Only you have to tick proxy integration this time. Done and deploy. Okay. So let me check it in CloudWatch. So why I have enabled CloudWatch? Because it gives me the logs of the Lambda, what the Lambda is doing. Okay, let me check it again, how it's working. Now it's perfect. Okay, so I was getting an error because of proxy Lambda proxy integration. So in get method, you have to pass the Lambda proxy. Okay, and because we want to display something, enable the chorus as well. Click on chorus. Yes. Click on contact number, enable chorus. So whatever the path you are creating, click on chorus and deploy it once again. chorus क्या करता है आपकी वेब जो ब्राउजर है उससे compatibility सेट करता है. Okay, now they are going to replace the browser. Nice. Console change करने वाले वापस. Okay, now my API is ready. Now you can see I can just put the actual number. Get method का benefit ये है कि आप ब्राउजर से भी टेस्ट कर सकते हो. So जो आपको यहाँ पे URL मिला ना API से, यहाँ पे जाइए, स्टेज में जाइए, डेव में क्लिक कीजिए, गेट पे क्लिक कीजिए और यहाँ से जो URL मिलता है उसको कॉपी कीजिए नोटपैड में और यहाँ पे कॉन्टैक्ट इन्फो ये पूरा हटा दीजिए. कॉपी करके इसको ब्राउजर में डालिए और उसके बाद आपको अपना मोबाइल नंबर डालना है, जो भी नंबर आपको फैच करना है, 9199999999. You can see no info found. If you are passing the actual number, you can see it has fetched from the DynamoDB. It is fetching from DynamoDB. Done. So my API is ready. Again, my API is ready. I just want to update my front end page. So उसके लिए आप same bucket use कर सकते हो, दूसरी bucket use कर सकते हो. So what I'm doing, I'm replacing the previous code. जो submit button का था ना, उसको मैं replace कर रहा हूँ अभी के लिए. अगर real website होती तो वहीं पे आप दूसरा navigate कर सकते थे. For right now, for simplicity, I'm replacing the previous page and uploading the new one. So index.html, but in JSON JavaScript, you have to replace this here with your domain, with your API. API पे जाएंगे, ओके, कॉपी करेंगे पूरा, शायद हमने यहाँ पे किया हुआ है, हाँ, ओके, स्लैश तक, ओके. सो ये रिप्लेस करेंगे आपकी यूआरएल से और सेव कर दीजिए. डन. So this file and this file I have to upload in S3. Go to your S3 and upload. Give public access and upload. Done. Now let's check the form again. Now instead of filling form, now it is asking me the number 099999999. So you can see undefined means value not found. Okay, let me give the actual number which is there in the database. So you can see it is giving me the information: contact number, contact name PJ, email ID is giving something. Let me check the another one. You can see Parag Jain email ID. So if the information is there in the database, it will display you, otherwise it will say undefined. Okay. This is your website which is used to put the information in DynamoDB and get the information from DynamoDB. It is a serverless, it is the Lambda, the API, you are not going to get charged for creating them. You are going to get charged if you are using them. Okay, until unless you use them, you are not going to get charged. So this is your complete website. Now you can integrate this this domain with your custom domain. This is your S3 URL, right? You can integrate with your cloud Route 53. Go to Route 53, go to hosted zone, select your domain, create record, click on alias S3 Mumbai, select your bucket and done. Now you can use this domain. Okay, it will take a couple of seconds, 2 minutes to simply enable the web hosting. इतनी देर में तो आ जाता है ये. ये तो क्या था पिछली बार? सेम है, सिंपल है। एरर क्या आ रहा है पता नहीं। सो एनीहाउ डोमेन रीच नहीं कर पा रहा है somehow। ठीक है, apart from that this your website is working fine, right? Yes, this is Route 53 पता नहीं क्या हुआ। Okay, any question on this meanwhile? Guys, कोई क्वेश्चन है इस पे? अच्छा, जब क्योंकि आप इंफॉर्मेशन पास कर रहे हो ना इसमें से यूआरएल के अंदर, इसलिए कर्ली ब्रेसेस डालना पड़ता है। यहाँ पे कर्ली ब्रेसेस क्यों डालना है? क्योंकि हम गेट मेथड यूज कर रहे हैं। सो ये एपीआई का वो क्या कहते हैं, नॉमेनक्लेचर है, प्रोसेस, कि अगर आपको यूआरएल के अंदर इंफॉर्मेशन पास करनी है कोई भी इंफॉर्मेशन तो कर्ली ब्रेसेस में, अगर आप कर्ली ब्रेसेस नहीं डालते तो वो एक्चुअल टेक्स्ट है। जैसे अगर आप ये देखोगे यूआरएल, तो अगर कर्ली ब्रेसेस नहीं है तो टेक्स्ट है, राइट? ये फिक्स इंफॉर्मेशन है। कर्ली ब्रेसेस के अंदर मतलब कि उसको आप कोई भी वैल्यू से रिप्लेस कर सकते हो, जो भी कर्ली ब्रेसेस के अंदर है। ओके, मतलब ये जो वैल्यू है ये अब रिप्लेसेबल है पूरा, ऐसा, इसलिए कर्ली ब्रेसेस बनाया है। समझ आया ये वाला? ये थोड़ा ट्रिकी है, बट दिस इज द सेम जो कल किया था हमने 3 घंटे का, वो सेम हमने अभी वैसे ही किया है, बट सेम किया हमने, वेबसाइट होस्टिंग करी है, वैसे बनाया। ओके, सो लेट्स टेक 10 मिनट्स ब्रेक और फाइनल प्रोडक्ट करते हैं फिर एक और। ये हमारा दो गेट और मैथ हो गए, सबमिट और गेट हो गए। इसके बाद एक एप्लीकेशन जो मैंने डेवलप किया था मैं आपको बताता हूँ, ठीक है? I'm stopping here. Let's take a break of 10 minutes.